Welcome back everyone to theCUBE, special presentation here in the Palo Alto studios of theCUBE. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. This is theCUBE and the NYSE Wired community with our open media concept and network. Beverley Chadwick's here, the Chief Financial Officer, and Alex Babin, CEO of Hercules AI. Thanks for coming on. We were just chatting, we getting the countdown. We're so excited about this interview.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming on, our special AI innovators, and that's the AI for CFOs. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
You know, I love this topic of CFO AI and then the AI leaders together, and you guys both are doing both here because the implications right now is business transformation. You know, technology innovation, consumerization of IT, digital transformation has been kind of the waves and the fashion. Now the impact is clear, and I think everyone at the board level down to the developers see AI as a game changer. Developers are frothy, they're hungry, their appetite for code is off the charts. You got low code, no code, code assistance. You got boards saying we have to change our business model. So it's like a perfect storm.
Absolutely.
Of innovation. How do you model that? What's the finance? The CFO's like, okay. And then the tech side, you guys are doing this ages, so you're in the middle of all the action.
Yeah, the paradigm's certainly moving very, very quickly. I think it's, there's more and more pressure on CFOs. We're more than ever at the center of all the topics of strategic conversations that are happening at board level. We've got to be more and more agile and fast in our decision making and recommending changes and improvements to the board. So I think it's a major, major time for CFOs to really act very quickly, but also to think about the future and how we're going to build AI into our processes.
Beverley and Alex, I love what you guys do because what I like about this event is we get the CUBE is like a perfect for us too, because we get to talk about CFO stuff and you guys are on the innovation side, but also your counterparts on the other side, CFOs and CEOs of the customers. Let's just say JP Morgan Chase, now they're a technology company and others, they spend $17 billion a year, by the way, budget, great customer to have. But other CFOs in mainstream, I call mainstream enterprise, they're not as advanced. So you guys can see both sides of the table, the innovation side and the financial side. Let's get into that, but before we do, explain what you guys do because you guys are at I love what you guys do. You're at the tip of the forward innovation wave, which is multi-agent networks and how you guys are bringing these neural networks, symbolic. I mean, this is the future, the meta reasoning, the reasoning going on, the brains behind these agents and sub-agents. I mean, I oversimplified it, Alex. You're probably like, okay, we'll straighten out. Tell us what you guys do.
I can even simplify it even more. So basically what we do, we provide our clients with AI workers. AI worker is a multi-agent system that works on behalf of humans or as a co-pilot, producing work minus ego, coffee breaks, and vacations, of course, 24/7. And the overall trend right now is AI will not replace people. AI will replace people who are not using AI. So organizations are racing towards getting more of those systems set up. The problem is that it should be highly reliable, and that's what we've been working on for many years to make the foundational layer to make AI work reliably and scalably. And you were asking about how we work with the CFOs on our client side. Actually, traditionally, software is being sold to CTOs and IT leaders. That's how world was working. Now we see a big shift to CFOs making decisions because CFOs in large organizations, these people know exactly what processes need to be augmented first to provide real ROI, and that's what everyone is interested in, real ROI as fast as possible. So CFOs are our biggest champions in almost every client we work with.
You know, one of the things, I mean, by the way, great point, I'm glad you brought that up because this brings up the sea change of the classic tech industry, which was target a persona, go to market, build an enterprise sales force, pound the pavement, get funded, zero interest rates, oh yeah, great. Or build a great pull mechanism, whether it's some sort of pull growth hack. Now, and then by the way, calling the CXO. That's a CEO, whatever. Now you have, of course, those stakeholders, but now you have a different group of buyers. The influencers it's not the classic recommender influencer, it's a bunch of other people. And of course you get the developers. Okay, all those are now stakeholders. So can you guys share your vision on that? Because I've been seeing it, I've been yelling at the top of my lungs like it's a whole other thing. Do you agree? or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, it's about decision making way beyond Gen AI. It's automated decision making. It's way well beyond what we've seen before in the industry, and I think it's tremendously powerful. I think it's about people fundamentally. I think with a traditional systems implementation, yeah, the IT department, the CIO was in the driving seat, but I think now this is all about, it's not just about the automated processes, it's about all the manual work that goes on with like your month-end process, right? It's about all the things that happen outside of the systems, and it's bolting on a person or a multi-agent or a system automated solution to help with that. And often IT folks do not see everything that goes on with a close process, for example, or billing process.
Yeah, I'm having a CUBE moment as a host. I don't know if I should go dig into the CFO side or go down the rabbit hole of agents. But let's stay with the tech side for a second.
They're
really connected. And this is why I'm kind of like having a moment here. Because here's the thing. If you look at the IP, the intellectual property of a company, it's data. Everyone's talking about that today. What they're not talking about, what you guys are doing is the business transformation isn't the IT department. It's the business people that have the domain expertise. Right. So we all know how complicated the enterprise is. There's knobs and buttons and you got to push and there's databases and access. This is where the value is. Correct. I mean, horizontal scale is great. That's getting better. We love that. That's bring us more Cerebrus chips and more AWS chips embedded, people writing to the kernel level. This team's doing that great. Keep pedaling as fast as you can. But the action, you guys share this.
Yeah, you have to get into the guts of your operational processes, right? You've got to understand from womb to tomb how your business operates. And I think, what a lot of folks are struggling with is, well, where is value in that process? And, AI is just not a generic term to just come in and sweep across an organization, add value. You need to understand where the pain points are, right? If you're going to be, CFOs need to be agile, very, very agile, very adaptable. I'd look at, where are those pain points in my organization and where can I put in an agent that's not going to, require me to do lots of manual intervention and go across multi-systems. The multi-agent, and particularly our solution, sits on top of your existing systems. So it's very quick and nimble. You don't have to go and re-engineer your entire IT solution. You don't need the IT department to do that. You can be in there training that agent yourself. So I think it's transformational in that, yes, it's taking that power into the business leaders' hands themselves. But I think it gives the CFO an opportunity at board level that they can actually, boards are struggling with what is the value of AI. The CFO now can take charge and be part of that process and say, I can help to do that because I can help to process map to understand where the value and the pain points are. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity both on the board side and the strategic side, but also operationally. I think it's really true.
The money talks, BS walks, as they say. So, when you look at the business model transformation, again, I keep focusing. Everyone asks me, John, where's the white space for developers? Where's the value extraction? And we are in a disruptive enabler. It's disruptive, but there's enablement. And I bring up the domain expertise because the so-called human in the loop, not going to be replaced. That's guaranteed, I can predict that. But they'll be augmented. So if I have domain expertise, I could change the business overnight. I could be just some employee and just like literally have an impact, change the revenue model, identify an innovation, and instantly game change. And that's never been around before to that level. Maybe a programmer, you build a breakthrough, but breakthroughs are going to come on the business side. That's my take. What do you guys think?
There is actually an interesting angle in this, and one of our clients shared this insight with us. So when you look at domain experts and you look at the organization, let's say there is a department of 200 people. They're not equal in knowledge, not equal in experience. What AI is actually doing, especially AI workers or AI agents, they can be seen as a universal equalizers. So your worst performer plus AI becomes your best performer. So without AI, it's still a worst performer. So in this case, it helps the whole department, a whole organization to be at the same level. And we know that no organization in the world has one big bottleneck. It's 1,000 tiny bottlenecks that prevents organization to go faster. Like old proverb says, the caravan goes with the speed of the slowest camel. So there are 1,000 slowest camels in organization, both technology-wise, people-wise, and knowledge-wise. AI is equalizing it, making it the same level. The whole organization moves faster.
Alex, that's a great point. And Beverly, to your point about from womb to tomb, you're talking about end-to-end processes. You're talking about operations management.
Yes.
You're talking about, throughput. You're talking about. That is not a tech thing.
No.
Oh, we prefer not to talk about tech thing with our clients.
That's operations management, basically manufacturing theory meets workflows.
Honestly, John, clients don't care if it's AI or black magic.
Yeah.
It should work, and it should work predictably. Yeah. Well, in our case, it's AI. We're not involved in black magic, though it's about the output, it's about the ROI that makes the difference.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing three waves come in, depending on what word you use. You know, you got originality or truth, okay, which is the data. You got authenticity and value, and then trust. So if you get those three things right, it's huge. It's independent of the it's not a technology conversation. Now the technology is being reset, so the plumbing and all the underlying assets have to support the workload. So this is the classic example. The cart before the horse. What do you do first? What do you guys, how do you think about that, and how should CFOs and business leaders tackle the operating system of their business?
Yeah, I'd focus on where the value is being generated. I think it's all about value, as Alex said, and that's critical to demonstrate that, but it's either increase revenue or cut costs. Traditionally, that's where we operate, and I think everyone's going to have their own focus on that. But our solutions can deal with both. We see an uplift in revenue in all of our customers that do our billing compliance solutions, and we're seeing that every day in delivering, up to 10x ROI on those solutions. So I think again, it requires deep understanding. This is not just I buy a system. You gave me an example recently. A company, a very large bank, installed a system across its organization, a Copilot solution, and it was a huge failure because they'd not identified the pain points or where the value proposition was. Huge failure. I think it's important, like any system, any technology, any solution, where's the pain point? What are we trying to deliver to?
Yeah, the what and the why, and then you go to the how, and then if you do the how first, then you don't know what the what is.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, this classic, strategies is not being addressed because the tail's wagging the dog, so to speak.
Exactly.
And this is where legacy, you mentioned earlier, comes in. It's like, if you have legacy stuff, okay, you can abstract it away, but you got to know what it is. It's a systems mindset. Again, I come back to this operating system thing. I hate to bring up that, but you brought up the camel thing, made me think, okay, this is operations. But if you want to run it, you got to look at the system. So we're in a revolution of a systems mindset kind of generation. Thoughts on how that's playing out?
Yeah, as a CFO, I've always been in that world, to be honest. It's always been my bread and butter. I come from an audit background, but I think that translates into the finance team as well as the accounting team. And it's all about, again, your KPIs. It's about the unit economics. All of that translates through to your AI solution and your AI strategy. And that's what you should focus on. Again, all those value generators. If you don't know that, that's kind of going back to basics. But
go back to school.
Yeah, exactly. It requires a lot of work and a lot of understanding, and I think it's maybe forcing some folks to go back to basics on where that value is, right? But it's important to know that. So it's a great discipline.
It's one of those things that if you're not curious and relearning, you get stuck in in your discipline, and the skills gap on the CFO. I've heard two tales. You have people who are comfortable, they do the same old thing, rinse and repeat every year. And then the ones that are progressive, they're leaning in and they're looking at as a CFO, not as a CFO, but as someone who understands the financial operating system, and then looks to map it into the business model so the financial strategy supports the business.
Has to.
And obviously the money comes in, that comes back into finance. So that is has to be a well-oiled machine. So the question is, Andy Jassy at reInvent was on stage with Matt Garman. He talked about practical AI, and he was flexing a little bit on some of these low-hanging fruit use cases. Alex, you mentioned you were chairing the CFO piece of the AI Summit in New York, and it's like, okay, real ROI. They want real ROI today, and practical solutions that can map to their security postures, financial risk management. Yeah. How do you do that? How do you make the financial engine work with the business? How should CFOs start planning? Is it rip and replace? Is it a retrofit? Is it a reset?
It's actually multi-angle, and in the past, typically technology leaders and sometimes business leaders were looking at CFO as a gatekeeper. Now the role changed, and CFOs become the champions because they drive the innovation, not the technology leaders anymore. This new investment in AI in the recent years, since ChatGPT, made people think that now we have a magic wand. What they don't realize, it's a magic wand that randomly can turn yourself into a frog if you use it the wrong way and apply to the wrong cases. And what the biggest thing at this AI Summit session, the whole day session, was real ROI is actually very simple to follow. It's just follow the money. Where biggest bang for the buck would be if that bottleneck is removed. And the only person in organization who actually in epicenter of knowing where those bottlenecks, it's a CFO. Absolutely. And now CFOs are partnering really well with technology leaders. So CFOs telling technology leaders where AI should be applied, not the vice versa. Before with SaaS, traditional SaaS, technology leaders were coming to CFO saying we need to buy that SaaS solution, and they need to justify it to CFO why the spend. Now it's opposite, and it's an incredible journey so far. Almost every client we sell to, CFO either very involved or the champion of that process.
That's a great point. Beverly, weigh in on this, because this is what I've been seeing, and most people know CFO, they just approve the checks. Of course, SiliconANGLE Media, when you see that come through, make sure you sign it and approve. Only kidding. But if you think about the chief architects in the old school, the platform architects, you're the CFO, you're the architect of the business. You have the blueprints. You can see the interrelationships between elements where ROI happens. It's almost like, you know, it's like redoing the freeway, add another lane over here. You have the financial system.
Absolutely, I think, I mean,
you're the architect.
Our
CFO is the architect for business model transformation, and should they lead the platform engineers?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think gone are the days of the bean counting CFO. I've heard that term used before. No longer we bean counters, right? And I've always passionately been against that philosophy, and it's all about being involved with the business at every single level. Accounting and finance is the heart of the business, and AI is all about, you know, getting things done faster, better, and more efficiently. It absolutely perfectly translates into all the goals about the CFO being part of that transaction and being part of that story. So it's inevitable that this was going to happen, I think.
By the way, that is an opinion that of the progressive CFOs think, and not a lot of other people in the mainstream. So I really think that's a killer insight here. If you look at like all the AI crybabies out there, you can see them everywhere. Oh my God, you know, regulation, and this came up in the political season. The government wants to lock it in. AI only fails when it takes over. If that's the premise, don't let it take over. What does that mean? Make the humanity part work. This is where the human in the loop is the beginning trend. What do you guys think about that? Because again, that's a little bit dogmatic on my part, but I think if you just stay true to the human in the loop, AI serves us.
I'm quite passionate about that. One of my philosophies has always been, you know, as a CFO, I have an accounting hat and I have a finance hat. I want to get my month-end close and processes and reporting done very efficiently. I want to spend more time on analyzing, predicting, and helping the business. I've now got AI tools and agents that can now do both of those things, which is fantastic. I think it's going to result in, less transactional, less errors, less manual work. I think it's going to increase the motivation ultimately of employees. Nobody likes doing lots of manual work and cherry picking data here, there, and everywhere.
Justifying their agenda.
Cross-referencing,
politics.
It's not fun, right? Doing that, working in a manual environment. So I think ultimately it's going to work. It's going to result in a lot more motivation, better staff retention in teams. I think maybe the CFO remit's going to increase into more data and more business analysis. A lot of progressive CFOs do tend to own business and data. I'm very passionate that I do in my roles. And I think it's just going to strengthen that. I think, you know, my personal view is great CFOs will embrace this, and they've seen it coming because this is what we do. This is how we're good CFOs.
CFOs are the architect of the business because they have, their job is to, besides all the financial reporting and making the money system work and do all of that stuff, they're designing the system for the business. They are like they're setting the blueprints for the building, so to speak, if you want to use that metaphor. And with business model transformation, that's why we're doing this event, there's so much at stake not to include the CFO. Why? They're controlling the money. They can have the blueprints.
It would be fatal.
They can identify the pain points, to your point, Alex, around this is the intersection. Let's look at this piece. If we take the videos from theCUBE and use it for sales enablement, we can just cut 3/4 of the cost. I'm making that up, but that's what we're seeing.
That's right. I'll use an example with one of our clients, one of the largest financial institutions in the world. Traditional process of KYC was about 8 days, now shrank down to 2 hours. The same amount of analysts, the same amount of people working, they just can do 100 times things more and faster. And that always starts with like someone above the trenches, which is not technology, it's more of a business blueprint, you know it, and looking down and saying, this is a bottleneck. If we can get client onboarded instead of 8 days, down to 2 hours, that's faster to market. That will speed up the whole funnel of our business. The CFO is looking at it from a perspective, seeing where those red dots
I think the three pillars of authenticity and truth and quality data and truth and trust, those things, I trust my agents. So the agents are going to be super valuable in your model, because I don't care if I'm getting served some sort of experience if I know it's coming from an agent that's authentic, it's real, and it's truthful, trustful, okay? But I still want to get to the higher value services. So I predict a tsunami of creativity is coming.
I agree.
And then the needle will move and the cream will rise to the top. And I think you're going to see that in all sectors. I think I'm very bullish that if the AI is serving the human, to your point about unleashing the mundane tasks, the chess player who's at mediocre with AI becomes a grandmaster.
Absolutely.
Okay, to your point.
There's one big can of worms you just opened, John, and that's actually trust.
Yeah.
Because, well, if you apply AI to core business processes, not marketing email generation or content generation, real core business processes where the ROI sits, you have to have incredible trust into the systems you're deploying. It should be better than human, right? If we talk about 100% trust, it's impossible because 100% quality is software, AI is less, but it should be better than humans. And CFOs, actually, one of the important roles of CFOs is building the blueprint, not just for where we apply it to, and not just how it's just technology people, how to deploy it, is how we measure the trust. And there's not a lot of materials right now, how to measure it, how to build that trust, and how to check checks and balances inside organizations.
Or in dealing with anything, whether it's a human or an agent or a system, if I'm going to delegate something to someone, I better know it's going to be good. If I'm going to trust you to be my wingman on this project, I need to know it's going to be good. So I think, this is where we get into the killer app in AI, which is, and I'd love to get your reaction on this. Search is easy. Everyone sees search, RAG, okay, happening. That's great. Especially I find what I'm looking for and get to my next progression, whatever that is, a prompt or information, knowledge, and then that's always going to be around. Tasks become really interesting because then you got things getting done.
Right.
I mean, how far away are we from having a system where it knows I go to the NYSE a lot, I tend to work long days, I want a hotel close, and I tend to take a lot of Ubers. Maybe I should take the subway, just what Brian's teaching me over there. But like, when can I just tell an agent, I'm going to be there in 2 weeks, book me the hotel, I want everything teed up. Are we there yet?
I have a question to you.
Yeah.
Imagine you have such a solution. Would you trust it with your credit card to do tasks on your behalf? Not right now, probably, right?
No. Nor would the credit card companies trust that either.
Exactly.
So there's two sides
of the equation. CFO would not get those agents right now, the generalized agents' ability to do this kind of things on their behalf. Though, verticalized solution, this is the future, and that's actually, we already have it in production.
Personalization, it's human value.
Exactly, so verticalized, organizations do not hire people to do everything. You hire a person to do specific tasks. The same is going to be with AI. The next 10 years is going to be explosion of verticalized AI solutions like AI workers doing tasks where humans fail. And then building on top of that, when those AI agents that verticalized get to the specific quality, then we will start trusting generalized system. Why? Because the quality, overall quality of the system is the sum of qualities of components. And that's where we need to get.
Yeah, we had a customer recently that created hotbeds around different departments for very specific use cases. And having their own experimentation with those, some of them going into production, some not. But that started to build trust around the organization. They were sharing experiences, and different folks could trade on what went well, what didn't. So I think just starting small, I mean, I think we're all very overwhelmed as CFOs about AI and what it means. And there's tools everywhere. We get hit every day with 50 new AI tools and agents. But I think it's, again, choose specific use cases, be very focused, learn and get confidence, and then try and encourage that around your organization.
Beverley, it's great to have you on. Again, we go long as usual, great content. Final question for you though, Beverley, because I think this insight here is about the CFOs being the architect of the business model and seeing the blueprints. Data silos is technically, we've talked about this on theCUBE, it kills innovation because AI needs to have data. you look at the processes, end to end tend to be can be siloed if you think about it. If you see horizontal scalability in the business architecture, this is a phenomenon that's going to be a blueprint issue. Your
Agreed.
thoughts on that?
Yeah. Again, you know, it's something I'm very passionate about personally that the CFO owns. I'm very passionate that all systems process, particularly in a public company, you have to have that full transparency from, again, womb to tomb, right? So I think it's going to force the remit of the CFO to widen. And it's going to force that discipline of understanding that. And it's going to, again, change that paradigm, right? Maybe away from CIOs to the CFO owning data. I think one version of the truth, again, what have been my philosophies, anyone that's worked for me will tell you that, is very, very important. And we cannot be successful without it. It's just push that into the forefront.
I remember when I was in the 90s and I was reading process improvement books, the Drucker management techniques and, you know, the business school books.
Yeah.
Process improvement is here for the CFO too. It's not the management consultants. It's the core job. You are in the process business.
Huge opportunity, I think, to revolutionize a business. And as Alex said, you know, boards need someone to help them measure the trust and measure the performance. So it's putting the spotlight on the CFO in that way. So I would embrace it. I know folks, again, overawed, start small, get some real value, things that we're doing at the moment.
Well, we'll do a deep dive on Hercules AI next time. To Alex, your point, you know, the system, the money's flowing, the financial models have to connect in. It's a business model innovation opportunity, technology transformation, all that's happening now. It's like the perfect storm. It could be overwhelming too.
Very.
Thanks for coming on, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, this is theCUBE breaking down. This is our AI CFO day as well as the innovators in AI in Silicon Valley. I'm John Furrier, thanks for watching. We'll be right back.